Okay, guys, very little was done in this show. If anybody was wondering my take on this, I'm not going to take an hour. I don't think it's needed. Very little was done in this show. Next to spotlighting the Invitational, having a match for the Invitational, the general matches didn't make a difference. They didn't matter. The women's match didn't matter, but I will go through this, and there's only one thing that mattered. You see the title, but there was only one thing that mattered. Only one thing they cared about. But let's go through all this. The Brawling Brutes versus Pretty Deadly. Didn't matter. Look, I never said Pretty Deadly was great, but at least they booked them in a way that made them interesting to a certain extent on NXT. Here, being called a tasty snack by Michael Cole doesn't help. Seeing they're literally not doing anything with them, there you go. This is the type of team that Vince should like because they're a gimmick team and he can do something with them, but he isn't doing anything with them. He's just letting them do straight matches and acting like idiots most of the time and doing real wrestling. They can wrestle. But unlike when they were on NXT where at least they could show the character, here they ain't showing nothing. No one cares. JD thinks they're a joke and I don't blame him. They don't matter. So seeing them win doesn't matter. Let's move on. Zelina Vega versus Bayley. It made no difference. Why was this done? Why? You got a Puerto Rican versus a Mexican. Puerto Rican got her ass handed to her. And the only reason I'm even saying that because they're just both women. One's a little shorter than the other. I wouldn't normally talk about ethnicity, but essentially, since they made it so apparent about Zelina Vega and the Latino World Order, they're really pushing the Latino World Order. And that's fine. But talking so heavily about the culture, talking so heavily about the sandal, which I don't know anything about it. I may be half Puerto Rican. I don't know anything about it. Which I'm fine with. Actually, let me say this before I go any further because the match was so short. I got to fill in some of the blanks because... Well, I actually don't fill in blanks. I just got to say something because the match was longer than this segment. Look, I went to the store day before yesterday, and I ran into a man who was half Puerto Rican, but also half Italian. Interesting. I'm half black, half Puerto Rican. He's half Puerto Rican and half Italian. And he spoke Spanish. Fine. All right. But the one thing that he made very apparent, and there's nothing wrong with it, is that I asked him, so do you speak Italian? He says, very little. I have to speak my people's language. And the one thought that went through my head, and maybe you guys can contest to this. For me personally, I did not grow up with Puerto Rican heritage. I didn't. My biological father never had anything to do with it. But the one thing I did hear from this guy was he was around his dad and he could have learned the Puerto Rican language. He was around his father and I asked him, I said, so your dad wasn't around? He said, oh yeah, my dad was plenty around. But he said, I got to talk about my language. So what does that mean? If you got a father that's in your life, unlike me, I didn't get that. And he wasn't even willing to teach you Italian. You could have learned Italian and Puerto Rican. Or as well, let's make it clear that Puerto Rican have, in New York, it's a mix of English and Spanish. Puerto Rico is more pure. But the point is, he didn't even give a damn about Italian. I guess his mother told his father, don't teach him Italian, teach him just Spanish. Now, the reason I did that was because this was longer than the damn match. I had to do it. And next is seeing Zelina Vega smacking on the ass with that sandal. That was it. Let's move on. Okay, let's go to the men's U.S. Invitational Fatal 4-Way. We got AJ Styles. We got the Santos Escobar. We got, well, taking away from everybody there, who is the most spotlighted? Well, you could say Butch. Butch looked good. You could say Santos Escobar looked good. But let's make this clear. The one that showed the most on the camera, but not as much in the ring, was Grayson Waller. Now, I'm not saying that's good or not. I'm not. Grayson can wrestle just like everybody else. Let's make this clear. Grayson Waller is a very good wrestler. There's no line about it. He's actually very good. But they're showing more about him being more of a personality than a wrestler. Which, as long as they don't do the Grayson Waller effect too much, it's alright. But they've done the Grayson Waller effect a lot, no matter if he's been injured or not. If anybody said, well, he's been in the Grayson Waller effect because he's injured, it don't matter. If Vince wants you to be on TV, he cares about you to do something he likes. It's not about because he's charismatic and the Grayson Waller effect show is actually superior than the KO show, than the Miz's show, than the Cutting Edge with Edge. Vince does that. And I've said clearly, when it came to the Grayson Waller effect, at least it was more modern. It felt more modern compared to all the other ones. That was like an old talk show of Johnny Carson. If you haven't heard of him, he was a very old guy from the 70s and 80s and maybe a little bit into the 90s, slightly. He retired by then. And it was Jay Leno who took over. Well, I think Jay Leno took over, unless it was David Letterman. I can't remember. I think David Letterman or Jay Leno. I can't remember. But the point is, those are very old ways of doing a talk show. Grayson Waller felt at least a little more modern. That's all I can say. And the one who won was Santos Escobar. Do I believe that means anything? No. Not really. Not really at all. It's going to be a big question how they're going to book this. And is someone going to interfere with it like LA Knight? Because they showed vid packs of Ray, Cameron Grimes, but then they showed a little bit of Sheamus, who I feel sorry for because he should be going after the IC title, the only title he's never claimed. Why is he doing the US? It's garbage. But the person that looked the best was LA Knight. Yeah. Guys, what did I tell you months upon months ago? What did I tell you when they first brought up a LA Knight? That he should be spotlighted. And I see it again. I know right now that they're getting ready to do their shows. And that is JD and Alex. They will be doing it. And they're going to praise the fuck out of a LA Knight because he talked so well. He made it very clear he got that crowd around his finger. He twirled them around the finger and he said, let me talk to you. I'm going to make it very obvious that I'm going for that US title. I will be a champion. I'm cutting bits and pieces out. I'm not saying word for word. It's not necessary. Guys, LA Knight is so damn good on the mic. And now that he's had time to mature as a wrestler, I've said it myself for years, he was missing just one thing to be a ring general. And now he is a decent ring general. He is. He's good. He's not one of the greatest, but he's a good ring general. He knows how to talk. He knows how to get the fans behind him. He knows how to piss them off and make them cheer. He knows what he's doing. And Kevin Nash saying that he's about off with The Rock, that's a compliment. Yeah. He is. There ain't no problem with it. And seeing this, and I know those guys are going to be praising it. And they're going to be, if they're not worried like I am, that I just don't trust Vince with an LA Knight. Triple H, if he was running it, yes, I could say he'll be pushed. He will be used and he would eventually get a title. Would it be a US title? Yeah. Would it be an IC title? Yeah. Probably one of them. I don't know if they would give him the world title. I don't know how long it would be before Triple H, if he booked it, would give it to him. It may take a couple of years before he would get a world title unless they had nothing better for anyone to do and they just threw it at him with no story. That would be dumb. But I would expect them at least to book it. As it stands now with Vince, don't trust him. Don't think it's going to last long. And I'm worried about him. There we go. Let's move on. I am going to say this. When it comes to the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley, I have no idea what's going on. I'm curious, but I have no idea what's going on. I'm just saying it. Let's get to Bailey. Let me give it to you like this. They were not going to end this. I had a feeling there was something weird about this. Yes, we did have Bianca coming out, then Charlotte talking. Yes, they want to have their match at SummerSlam, which I knew they're going to have it no matter what. I felt like it was going to be a triple threat. Because this is what it's going to probably come down to. A triple threat. Unless they're going to be stupid enough to try and force Io Shirai into that to make it a fatal four-way, it's going to be a triple threat at SummerSlam because of constant interference. And that's what I felt was going to happen. I felt that this was not going to end well. We had Io Shirai. And let's make this clear. When Charlotte said, I'm going to go home, because I know that Bianca's got it, she goes. But then Io shows up and holding the briefcase. Boom, boom, boom. What do we get? We get Charlotte coming back within, 20 seconds? 30 seconds? Saying, well, I ain't leaving now. Then here's where it gets stupid. The match happens. And we got Io and Bailey with the fans because they got tickets. That would have been alright. It wasn't one of the greatest things, but it would have been alright. But then you had Charlotte Flair come out. And instead of her just walking down from the Tron, no. You have her come out with the fans waving a ticket. Does this seem so boringly formulaic? It is boring and formulaic. Why would you do that? And then guess what happens? No security to stop them. They jump the guardrail. They attack. The match is basically DQ'd. No winner. And the person that gets sprayed in the face this time is Bailey. It's not Charlotte. It's not the Bianca. It's Bailey that gets sprayed in the face by Asuka. And now what do we got? We're probably getting a triple threat because they can't do anything. You watch. Adam Pearce is going to say, you know what? Because they're going to come and bother him. Bianca's going to get mad. Then Charlotte's going to get mad. Especially Bianca's going to get mad because Charlotte interfered. Because when she's trying to protect her from a Io or a Bailey, and then she gets nailed by Io. And now that you watch what's going to happen. This SmackDown, they're going to say, I want my shot. And then the other's going to say, I want my shot. And they're going to start arguing either one or two things. One, they're going to have to face each other for the shot. Or it's going to be a triple threat. I believe it'll be a triple threat. Let's end it. Don't care. This is garbage. I knew this was going to happen. The only thing that mattered was the Jey Uso segment. Now, I want to say that Roman Reigns has now surpassed Nick Aldis as the longest running champion of a promotion. He's now at 1,048 days. And Nick Aldis was 1,043 days. He's beaten him now by 5 days. I had to say it. It needs to be stated. I am honest. But what did we get in this segment? We get to see Jey Uso almost completely unhinged, making it very clear about how it feels to be about. And the fans were just going with him in every point by point, just like doing the Austin, which is played out. But in this situation, he went with it. He went with it. Pretty much, as a twin, you know when your twin is happy, sad, angry, and hurt, and I'm hurt too. And he can't believe that his own family did it. He said he respects family. He respects his grandparents, he respects his uncles, he respects his dad, he respects his cousins. He respects everyone in the family and the rules. But when it came to Roman, he don't respect him. Forget that. And then when it came to Solo, he made it very clear, little brother, don't matter about that. You know I whooped that ass. He didn't say it like that. But that's what he implied, that he whooped that ass. Then we got Paulie coming out. Then we got Solo coming out. And Solo was the enforcer of the peace, not enforced to beat his ass. And we get a little Paulie making it very clear. When it comes down to it, the tribal tree, you know what's botching me? Which was kind of pissing me off? Was because he was so condescending when he said, the tribal chief will be here next week and you will be doing the rules of engagement with him and how we will rectify this problem. And that the problem is you. Because your family will not forgive you. Roman Reigns, your tribal chief, will not forgive you. I cannot forgive you. Solo asked for the mic, and he went up into his older brother's face and pretty much said what happened, because Paulie did say the reason that Jimmy was hurt because he's out indefinitely. That's how he's supposed to be, out indefinitely. In undisclosed time, he's just out, which could be a couple of weeks to a month. Pretty much, you see that Solo walks up to him and said, you know what happened to Jimmy? That's on you. But I'm not going to forgive you. We get a fight. We get the beatdown. We get Jay just about to destroy a Paulie, particularly destroying Paulie, making it so clear that Jay is oblivious to what he is. Because Jay said in his own promo, I am now the tribal chief. What did I say? Tell me what I said. The only problem is the family has not recognized him becoming a tribal chief. It's coming. I believe what this is going to be is not about the title of the Roman Reigns' current WWE Universal Undisputed title. No. It's going to be about that moniker. Sooner or later, I do believe the family is going to have to be brought in, and someone is going to have to say there cannot be two people who stake to the tribal chief. There will be one match. Who wins will be tribal chief. After that, it doesn't matter about who has the damn title. If Jay won the title from Roman Reigns, it don't matter. The moniker is the most important thing. Admittedly, Roman should not lose the title. He shouldn't. But he should lose his moniker. But this was also mentioned that Jay is oblivious to what he is. He's acting like a tribal chief, but he's oblivious to what he's done and who he is. And that really added to when he's about to beat the crap out of Paulie before Solo nailed him. Then he got back at Solo, and then he super kicked Paulie anyway, and the entire place exploded. That place exploded. They loved it. And I'm glad they did, because that is the way it's supposed to be. Guys, if no one cannot see this, this is not about the WWE Undisputed title. It just isn't. This is about the bloodline and who's the current leader of it. It's obvious. Who's the current leader of the bloodline is going to be the most hottest thing by the end of this year if they continue dragging it out even beyond SummerSlam. Because that's a big question. Because I still don't believe that Jay is going to win the damn title. But they can still get a lot of mileage out of it if the moniker of who the head of the bloodline is. That will be more important than Roman's title. That they should push it like that. And I am worried that Vince won't do it. There's a very good chance Vince will be stupid enough to interfere with Destroy the way it is and make it that Jay has to win, but does not fight to try and get that damn moniker. He should be the tribal chief. The elders, his father and mother, should be there when he's anointed the new tribal chief. They need to do it. This is where it should lead. But if Vince doesn't believe this, and it should only be about the damn title, all of this is going to fall apart very quickly. Because once the title is done, if Jay doesn't win, and they just move away from the bloodline feud, it's just going to be a waste of time. And JD and just Alex are going to say, see, it just didn't mean anything. But if Jay loses, but the moniker is still the key of the entire feud, they will understand that this was always about the bloodline and not the damn title. The title is now, at this point, secondary. It's secondary. It doesn't matter. If they don't do this, they will lose one of the best stories that can still be stretched beyond SummerSlam, even up to Survivor Series. I'm telling you right now. They could stretch this all the way to Survivor Series. You could have Jay by himself, still angry, frustrated, and pretty much Roman can still screw with him, but he just knows that he is the true tribal chief. And the person that can help him make that happen, guess who? Sami Zayn has known from the beginning who the true chief of the bloodline is. It's Jay. He said it. I acknowledge you. He said that in the beginning of this year before all this broke apart. He said to Jay, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you. That's what he said. The one that helps him to get that moniker must be Sami Zayn. And I hope someone reminds Just Alex and JD, because when this comes around, if it does, and Sami Zayn is the one who helps him, not talking about Kevin Owens, he'll be tagging along. But I tell you, I promise you, if they go down this route, the person that's going to help him get that damn moniker and the family will anoint Jay will be Sami. It is how it started, and it's going to be how it finishes. Sami will come full circle. He came into the bloodline. He convinced Jay to be more Usi. He managed to make himself a member. He was sorry that he betrayed Jay, not Jimmy, not Roman, not Solo, not Paulie, Jay, because he sees Jay's more important than anybody there. But that's just me. Peace.